driven. So keep that in mind. Um, Tips I can give you from the start is that you have to be brave at some corners. I'll highlight which ones you need to be brave at. And then also there's a lot of times you're going to sort of blindly turn in. But once you start to learn the track and where it is, then you get more comfortable as to trusting that the track is there by the time you go over the hill, type of thing. There are a few curbs as well that I would highly recommend avoiding. I'll show them to you as well. But overall, I don't know how many of you have given this a go yet, but yeah, I must say I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's an awesome track and car combination. So to the best of my ability, I'm gonna share with you a track guide for Interlagos. The Porsche is very nice under traction. The main thing is just get the car slowed down and turned in at the right places. Then you'll be able to use that exit power to get out of the corners and get up some speed. So coming over the line, so you're going to position your car over to the right hand side. There's a little thing that I look out for. Let me just take this away. I need to show this before Martin is angry at me again. So coming into corner one, place your car over on the right hand side. Now you'll see there's a little dip here in the road. I'll show it to you right there. You see there's a little dip right here. That's going to be your braking marker. So it's sort of between the 100 and the 50, about the 65 meter mark, round about there. So once you reach this little dip, it's around about here, you'll see it when you drive. Hard on the brakes, in a straight line, slow the car down into second gear. Use trail braking as much as possible for most of these corners. It'll help you to get the car rotated, and it's very, very important for most of the corners here. So trail braking, always important. So we're aiming for a second gear into this first bend, and it's a sequence of combinations. It's a left turn 90 degrees, and then it's a right turn 90 degrees, followed by a long left turn. So getting this entrance to this corner right sort of sets you up for the other two. So it's important to get this one right because it helps you for the onto the straight for the next part. So you're going to brake down to a second gear, turn in nice and late, use the brakes to get the car slowed down, and you don't want to cut too much of this curb on the inside. You can ride a little bit. You see we're going down into second gear. We're still using brakes. Now we're going to start turning in. So don't go, you'll see there's a high part of the curb on the inside. Avoid that. Just use this flat inside part of the curb here. Otherwise, the car can get unstable. So you want to stay tight on the exit here. So once you go through this corner in second gear, you want to stay more to the left-hand side so that you can open the right-hander for yourself. And that's why this entry is very, very important. So you're going to stay in second gear, then you're sort of going to give the gas, short shift to third, and you're going to aim to cut the next corner quite substantially. So you'll see we stay nice and close, squirt on the throttle, and then yank it over in third gear. Here you can cut a lot of the curb. It's not at off track. You're sort of going downhill as well. So once the car lands on this area, it sort of grips up very nicely. So it's sort of a bit floaty as you go over the hill and across this curb on the right hand side. But as soon as it settles down on the track on the other side, it's got a nice amount of grip. So you're going to short shift into third. Make sure you go over this curb on the inside. And this is full throttle. And I want you to ride the curb on the inside. Ride it. Keep your left hand wheels on this flat part of the curb as long as possible. And as the speed builds up, you'll naturally start drifting out wide. and you'll end up on the far side. You'll see I'm not steering more or less. It's just the speed that is just as the speed increases. As the speed increases, you'll see my steering is basically steady. And as the speed increases, the car naturally drifts out to the right-hand side. So in that way, you're not putting extra strain on the car. You're keeping it nice and balanced. And then we're blasting down to this left-hander coming up. Brake marker for this one, I find that you use the end of the wall on the left, on the right, sorry, the end of the wall here. You can use this little slip road as a brake marker just before this little slip road. All depends on whether your tires are warm or not. If the tires are cold, I will rather brake a little bit earlier, around about by the 100-meter mark. Once again, brake in a straight line down to third gear and then trail it in again. Don't use too much of the curb on the inside. I'm going to show you a little trick. So brake down to third gear. You're going to start turning in early because the track's falling away from you. So you're going to be sliding across it. So turn in slightly early so that by the time you get to the corner, the car's already been sliding a little bit to make the apex. You want to get the car rotated before you reach the apex. Otherwise, it's got a tendency to push you wide. So once again, just ride the inside of the curb, the flat part. Don't go onto the high side, and you'll see you get if you get the rotation right. By the time you get to this little slip road at the apex, you'll be able to get on throttle, and the rotation will be enough to have rotated the car so that you can get on the throttle and get a good exit. So remember, you're gonna turn in early for this one. So we're braking here at the 100-meter mark. Slow it down into third gear in a straight line. Let it slide, and as soon as you hit that curb, once again, you'll see the steering doesn't go more or less. It just stays constant. Steering stays constant. The car does all the work. And as we exit, we just open the steering. Just be careful not to get an off track there. That was still fine. And then you just keep on turning left as you go around here, following the shortest way possible. Okay, now we get to the tricky parts. So there's no real brake markers here. I'm only going to share with you some good lines that you can use. So what I use is this little hut on the left-hand side. When it passes the A pillar here on the left, that is sort of my brake marker. And it's a two-stage corner, this one coming up to the right. So you're going to brake, downshift to fourth for the first part of the right-hander. Then you're sort of going to just coast, let the speed come down naturally. As the speed comes down, you're going to downshift another one until the nose grips up. What do we always say? Wait for the nose. We wait for the nose. As soon as the nose grips, that means that the car is within limits. Then you get back on the power. So you position your car over to the left-hand side. We're waiting for that little hut to go past the A pillar. There it goes. On the brakes, downshift to fourth. Go over the curb. You'll see I'm not on throttle, just a little bit of brake. Now we're coasting. Down to third. Now I'm waiting for the nose. As soon as the nose starts to bite, you can feel the car pulling in. Then you get back on the throttle. You want to go over these two curbs. And this is one of those corners where it's like you have to trust blindly that the corner will be there. But as you do the laps more and more and more, you'll get more comfortable with it. So it's a two-stage corner. So we brake at the hut, downshift to fourth, over the inside curb for the first one. Then we're sort of just coasting. Halfway to the next one, we're downshifting into third. We wait for the nose to grip up. And as soon as the nose grips up, we plant it for the next part. So over the inside, down to third gear, we wait for the nose. There the nose grips up. Get on the throttle. And here you just trust that the track will be there. And wow, miracle, there it is. So you'll end up naturally in this position. Your brake marker for this next corner, you'll see, check this white line, and you'll see right there is a little kink in the line. That's your brake marker for the next for the next right-hander. Now these corners, feel free to, it's going to be second gear corners, first of all, this one and the next one. And you want to trail it in as much as possible, and you can ride the inside of these curbs as much as possible as well. They're not too they don't unsettle the car too much. This one specifically is quite fine, and you want to get on the throttle early with these corners. So get the car slowed down into second gear, get it rotated so that by the time you go over this little bump, then you can get back on the throttle. So just to show you again, so we over the little hill, we're waiting for this little kink on the brakes, second gear. Now we're going to use as much, you see I'm trailing it in, as much curb as possible. That's still fine. Same here. As soon as you start going down this little hill, you see there's like a little hill, and then here the downhill starts for that one. Very important corner to trail it in. Use that little bit of brake just to keep the nose gripped up so that the car will rotate around it. And you can actually get on throttle quite a lot earlier than you would think if you did the hard work and get the car rotated early. If it didn't work out quite as well and you get on the throttle, you're gonna run wide on the exit. So use this little downhill part to get the car slowed down. So you're in second gear. Stay in the middle of the track. As soon as this little dip starts, now we're on the brakes. You see a little bit of brake just to keep the nose interested until you see you can see the nose starts to pull in right there. So I'm not giving more steering, but the nose starts pulling in. As soon as do that, then you can get on the throttle and you should end on this curb on the right hand side. So use that to your advantage. It's a very, very satisfying corner, this, because there's some nice camber here. There's this little dip that you go through, and all of that just compresses the tire into the track and just gives you a tremendous amount of grip. It's very, very nice if you get it right. So second gear, we wait for the nose to start gripping up. You'll see there the nose starts to pull in. As soon as that happens, then we get back on the throttle. Nice and firmly. Just manage it so you don't run too wide. And then we go up the hill. You're going to sort of pull a straight line towards the far side. This is still valid. So you're going to sort of go in a straight line to the end of the track there by that little green hut. That's what you're going to be aiming for. Your brake marker is as this curb on the right hand side starts. Once again, similar to the other ones. Second gear. Use as much curb as possible on the inside. Cut it. Get the car slowed down and turned so that you can get early on the throttle. But as you go out here, aim for that little green hut. As you pass this start of the curb on the right hand side, you're going to hit the brakes. Down to second gear. If you can go far out, you can do that. I don't think it's completely necessary. Once again, over the curb on the inside. Once you've done the hard work, use the throttle to turn the car. There's nice camber. You can see the track leaning towards the inside. Then it's a quick move to the right hand side. There's no real brake markers here other than these. You'll see there's some brown marks look like dust or mud on the track here. And then here it ends. Round about there it ends. Hopefully your graphic settings are of such a nature you can see that as well. But once I reach the end of this brown patches here, round about there, that's going to be my indication to give a little bit of brake, and you're just going to coast a little bit. Remember, now we're going downhill, so the car's always going to want to flow away from you and just run away from you and slide out. So you have to just manage that. Be patient with this one because you don't want to screw this up, because it'll set up one of the best overtaking opportunities. So if you can get this sequence of corners right, it'll help you in getting a good overtake. So as you come out of that corner, you're going to swing over to the right hand side towards this end of these brown patches into third gear. As soon as you reach the end of that brown patch, you're going to lift. Now we're just waiting. We're We're waiting for the second part of this curb. You'll see there's two parts to this curb. There's the first part, yeah, little sharp end. That one you skip. And you wait for the second part, which is this part. That's the one that you want to go across. And once you get there, full throttle. So you don't have to hug the first part, but you do want to just glance the last part. So that you'll end up right about here. Once again, there's no real brake markers for this one. There's nothing I can give you to help, except that your brake marker will be somewhere in the halfway mark between where this curve ends, this little brown patch starts, and the brown patch ends. So somewhere there. There's no boards, nothing, which makes it quite challenging because it's a very important corner. On the inside of this corner, do not run over this curb. This one will screw up your lap, might send you into row 17, or you'll end up spinning out wide across the grass on the far end. As well as this is the opportunity that you will have to get a good passing shot. So you want to make sure that you get this one right. So once you're in this straight line, run about the halfway mark between the end of this curb and the end of the brown. That's going to be your brake markers. Run about there. You're going to aim for second gear, but you're only going to turn in once you reach the end of the brown patch. So don't be too eager with your turn in. So in a straight line, run about halfway. There we go, halfway. Now we wait until we reach the end of that brown. Only then do we start turning in. That opens the corner nicely. You can glance the inside, but don't go more than that on that curb in the inside. It is a nightmare. You'll experience it now shortly. But if you get the car slowed down, remember we're braking uphill. There is camber, so all the things are in your favor to get a good exit and so forth. Just do your bit to avoid going over this curb. You can glance it like I've done here. That's fine, but as soon as the car's rotated in second gear and you've done all the hard work to get the car in the right direction, on the gas as soon as you hit this curb on the inside. So halfway on the brakes, down to second gear, then only once the brown ends we start turning in. You'll see I'm on the brakes. As soon as I hit that curb, all well, full on the gas. And once again, we're just holding the steering. We're not sawing at it or anything like that. And then you just follow the shortest path possible around this corner. Stay to the left-hand side. Stay close to the curbs. Stay close to the fence on the left-hand side. And then straight towards the finish line. Very, very nice track. Interlagos. Vanner, your time's probably faster. This one was a 31.8. So Vanner will give us the real guide shortly.
Ik weet niet, ik zal nog moeten uitvinden.
So yeah, so if we look at this one, I think in full speed, we just go, where is the far chase? Far chase. We just tilt it down a bit so that you can see the lines. Maybe we must just go further back a bit now. There we go. So, in a nutshell, slow down to second gear, clip this inside, stay tight to the left hand side, flick it over, short shift to third, cut as much as you can. On the throttle, hug this corner on the inside. Ride it all the way around. The speed will naturally feed you out to the far edge of the track. Then we're looking at the 100-meter board or the little slip road. Down to third gear, get it turned in as soon as you hit that little slip road. No, that was not the right lap. There we go. Here it is. Let me just get to the fast part of it. Okay, here we go. Get the car slowed down at the apex on the gas. shortest way possible, looking for the little hut on the left. Brake, down to 4th, cut the inside, coasting, wait for the nose, down to 3rd, speed it, wait for the kink in the line, down to 2nd, cut the curb on the inside, little bit of brake, wait for the nose to grip. As soon as it grips, hard on the throttle, aim for the little hut, down to 2nd, cut the curb again, early on the throttle, swing over to the right at the brown patch, lift, skip the first part, hook up the second part of the corner, halfway, brake down to 2nd, avoid the curb on the inside, on the throttle, and towards the line. So that is a track guide of Interlagos. Yeah, it was good fun. I've never driven this car on this track before, so it was some good fun. Hopefully you will have that again tonight as well. Remember, we have the 3 10-minute races. Server will launch in 5 minutes. Any questions or anything that I can relook for you on the track guide? Any tips that you would like to share with the group as well that you've experienced? You're more than welcome to do so.
Yes, ek kan vir julle sê as julle goeie tyd wil gain, cut corner 1 ry reguit net aan oor die gras tin 2, julle sal dit survive.
What?
Nee man, ek joke net, manne.
Stompy's working with a plan, yeah. So cut straight across turn 1. Yeah, that'll work. Stomp.
Jy moet asseblief nie die mekaar raak met die brain patches nie, daar mag dalk 'n paar ekstra wees.
Oh yeah, but that's number
Mama,
2s,
flat.
not number 1s.
Sharp.
Yeah, so that's Interlagos. Hope it helps, boys.
Thank you.
Server should launch shortly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.